What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to be breaking down 10 of the most overrated movies of all time in no particular order. I'm just going to say this right off the bat. I am going to piss some people off, at least 90% of you. There's going to be some hot takes. These are just all my opinions, but there's a high chance that at least one of these movies you're not going to like to hear they're overrated. But let me know if you agree or disagree below in the comments. I love all the discussion. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Alright, so first to define what I mean by overrated. So these movies are either going to be critically overrated, so movies that have really higher ratings than they should. It could be box office overrated, so movies that made a ton more money than they should have. And then there's just general overratedness, which is around different circles, different communities, just movies that I hear mentioned all the time. People are glazing them, if you will, when I don't think they're that good. So without further ado, let's get right into it. At number 10, I have City of God. So this is an older movie, and right now it's currently rated 8.6 on IMDb, and in the top 30 movies of IMDb's top 250 movies of all time. So it's currently sitting at number 26, if I'm not mistaken. So the movie takes place in the slums of Rio, and two kids' paths diverge as one struggles to become a photographer and the other a kingpin. So it's a really interesting story. It has a lot of cultural significance. I think that the cinematography, directing is all good. It's really unique, and I understand why people really love this movie. But in my personal opinion, I found the pacing to be a little bit slow at times. It really didn't stick with me or resonate like a lot of other people. This movie, again, is sitting at 8.6. People rave about this movie, calling it a masterpiece, but it just really didn't do it for me. I'd seen this movie twice before, and both times I thought it was good, and I liked some of the scenes. I thought some of the editing was really cool, and the acting's really interesting, but I just can't agree that it's rated that high up and that it's called a masterpiece in many different spaces, and I see it all over lists putting this way high up there. I don't know, I just don't see it. At number 2, we have Sinners. So this one, again, this one's definitely going to make people mad. Alright, so Sinners just came out this year. It's directed by Ryan Coogler and follows a set of twin brothers set to return to their hometown to start again, only to discover that an even greater evil is waiting to welcome them back. So my personal thoughts on this movie is that there's a lot of artistic value to it. I think visually the movie is stunning. I think the effects are really cool. And I really do like Michael B. Jordan as the set of twins. I think that he brought a level of charisma and a level of charm to the role, and I thought it was cool, and I thought he played this set of twins very well. Alongside that, I think Haley Steinfeld is very good in the movie as well, along with all the supporting people. Just good acting overall. But the way that people talk about this movie, I'm already hearing a lot of people calling it best movie of the year, best horror movie of the year. It gets glazed unlike any other movie this year, and I don't know why. I don't see it. I personally don't see it. I think it's good. I had problems with it. I thought that the end wasn't very great. Just not the sharpest writing there, and I just don't see this movie being in the top 10 movies of the year or anything like that. I think it's pretty good at best, but nothing that makes me go, wow, that was revolutionary. I've never seen this before. What an incredible scene, mind-blowing, like people want to talk about it. It's just not there for me. It's really just not there for me. Critically speaking and box office wise and just in general, this movie, I don't understand why it gets glazed to the point that it does. Alright, at the number 3 spot, we have Dune Part 2. I warned you. I told you that people were going to get mad at this. So, Dune Part 2, it's directed by Denis Villeneuve and follows Paul Atreides unites with the Fremen while on a warpath of revenge against the conspirators who destroyed his family. Facing a choice between the love of his life and the fate of the universe, he endeavors to prevent a terrible future. So, I'll just say this right now. I think this movie's very good. I really enjoyed it. I think visually is great. I think Denis Villeneuve is a great director. I think all the cast is great. They got so many people in the movie. Who don't they have? Zendaya, Timothée Chalamet, Javier Bardem, Rebecca Ferguson. So many people in the movie, and they all do very good in it. And I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed this movie, and I think that it is a very good movie. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. I hear the phrase masterpiece being thrown out, and I don't think it's a masterpiece personally. And this honestly could just be full preference from my end. So again, this is just preference. maybe I'm not into that sort of sci-fi realm as much as other people are, so that might have been blocking some of the artistic value from getting through. But right now it's currently standing at 8.5 out of 10 on IMDb, making it in the top 50 movies of all time, and it's won 2 Oscars under its belt, which I can agree with that. But personally, I think being 8.5 on the list of 250 movies of all time, and 8.5 is very high on IMDb. Seeing it that high up there, personally, I wouldn't put it up there. I think that it's great, just not a masterpiece. If I have to put an asterisk on this one, because honestly, it's very close to being as good as people say. So it's not like I'm saying this is a bad movie and I totally don't get why people glaze it as much as they do. Listen, I completely understand why that is, and trust me, you're not wrong for thinking that, because it is an excellent movie. But it's not masterpiece level to me, and it's not in that high up in the top 250 movies of all time, personally. Continuing on, we have Wes Anderson's The Grand Budapest Hotel. So this story follows a writer encountering the owner of an aging high-class hotel who tells him of his early years serving as a lobby boy in the hotel's glorious years under an exceptional concierge. So this is one of those movies, or should I say even director in general, that never really resonated with me as much as other people. I know there's a lot of Wes Anderson fans out there, but personally, the way that people talk about this particular movie, and I see this listed all the time as people's favorite movies and stuff like that, I just don't see it personally. I think it's a fun movie. I think that it's okay. It's not Wes Anderson's best movie, in my opinion, and it's nowhere near being on top of people's lists and stuff like that. Just this one is one of those, again, that's general consensus. All I hear is people always praising this movie and saying it's amazing and his best movie and everything. It won 4 Oscars. Don't get me wrong, great acting and everything, great set pieces, amazing cinematography, like all his movies. But for me, it just, his movies missing that. I don't know, they're so cartoonish in their own unique way, which I can appreciate, and I like that it's unique. But for me, it doesn't really work for me too much at times. Just, again, personal preference. Call me having bad taste, but Wes Anderson movies don't do it for me. And this one, the way that people talk about it, I just personally don't get it. That's why I have it on this list. Alright, at number 5, we have Mad Max Fury Road. So this movie currently stands at the number 183 spot on IMDb's top 250 movies of all time. And it's set in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. A woman rebels against a tyrannical leader in search of her homeland with the aid of a group of female prisoners, a psychotic worshiper, and a drifter named Max. So this movie I just found to be very weird and not very memorable besides the really cool action sequences. I found myself kind of scratching my head as to why people love this movie so much. This again could go in the same realm as I said in Dune Part 2, where maybe it's this sort of sci-fi area of sci-fi that maybe doesn't resonate with me, or maybe I don't like it as much. So again, could be strictly personal preference, but the absolute praise that this movie was getting when it came out, and still to this day, people call it a masterpiece all the time. It's in the top 250 movies, and somewhere in the middle almost at this point. Not exactly, but it's up there. And people just love this movie, and I thought it was just your typical action sort of vehicular combat movie, sci-fi. Not even sci-fi. I don't know what you would put this in. I don't know, but fantasy, whatever you want to call it. This sort of wasteland world that they have going on. Okay, that's all cool, and the action set pieces are really cool, and we have Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron. We have good stars in the mix, but yeah, this movie just didn't do it for me personally. I don't think it's bad by any means, but it should not be, personally, it should not be in the top 250 movies of all time, and it should not be called the masterpiece by many people. I might have to revisit it, but I've seen this 2 times before. I might have to watch it a 3rd time to really get it, but this one is just okay for me. All right, so you're still here. Thank you for still watching, and you haven't stormed off in rage. I know maybe some viewers have at this point, so thank you for continuing to watch. I appreciate it. At number 6 spot, we have Avatar. So Avatar is overrated for a very obvious reason. It's one of the highest grossing movies of all time. This movie made $2 billion, and that was like over a decade ago. So can you imagine, with inflation thrown in there and everything, how much money this movie actually made? In an obscene amount, it's still up there on the top grossing movies of all time, and it follows a paraplegic Marine dispatched to the moon Pandora on a unique mission, becomes torn between following his orders and protecting the world he feels is his home. Alright, so when this movie came out, the actual technical marvel of it was what had people going to the theater in droves. People wanted to see these visuals that they had never seen before, and if I give it anything, it's that the visuals are state of the art. It was way ahead of its time and just showed the limitations, or the actual lack of limitations, that visuals could have on the screen. I remember seeing this in IMAX in 3D, and I thought the experience was very cool. Alright, I thought that it was cool. I enjoyed it, but as a movie itself, taking the visuals away, because a movie is more than just its visuals. So what do we have in the substance category? So James Cameron, he's a master of the blockbuster. He's made multiple highest grossing movies of all time: Titanic, Terminator 2, Avatar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, however many he's making these. Okay, so this movie is really not that great when it really comes down to it. I think that the actual story is very generic. It's already been done before, by the way. We have movies like Pocahontas. It's the same story. This has been done before. The story was not very original to begin with. We've seen this before. They're trying to save the planet. Oh, we have the bad Westerners, the colonizers, whatever, trying to take over the land of the indigenous people there, or the native people that live there already. And then one of the people from that side goes to the other side to protect it. We've seen that over and over and over again. So first off, not creative in the slightest. All right. Second, the casting is okay. The villain is really not that memorable, even though I like Stephen Lang. Not super memorable personally, and just very generic. A lot of the cast is okay at best. I don't think anybody goes crazy in their roles, and nothing crazy with the cinematography or the plot or anything. It's just very mid, if you will. It's just right in the middle. It's like okay. I don't hate it, but it's okay. It's your generic action movie, and that's it. That's all it is. And yet it sits here at the highest grossing movie of all time, one of the highest grossing movies of all time, for a long period of time. It may be number 1. I haven't checked the list in a while, but it's definitely top 3 at very minimum, and it should not be up there. It's not that good. Alright, continuing on, at number 7, we have Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. As Hollywood's golden age is winding down during the summer of 1969, television star Rick Dalton and his stunt double Cliff Booth endeavor to achieve lasting success in Hollywood while meeting several colorful characters along the way. So this one might not be as overrated as I think it is, but hear me out. Alright, so this movie, what do I think of it? I'm a big Quentin Tarantino fan. I love Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill, Django Unchained. I love those. He's excellent. He's a master of his craft as far as I'm concerned. But personally, his last 2 movies, Hateful Eight and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, have not done it for me. I don't think that he's surpassed any of his previous works. So this movie, I remember watching it and thinking, okay, it has good acting and I want to enjoy the story, but really it's just a very slow-paced movie. Not much happens in it until the very end. And again, I'm not one of those people that, you can't have a movie about people talking. It's not even that. It's why should I care? I was asking myself that question. We have these 2 characters, and I'm trying to feel for them. I'm trying to get into the story, but I just couldn't. And then the end kind of goes off the rails, and then the movie just ends, and it's like 3-hour movie. Quentin Tarantino says that this is his best movie. And again, this is the legend behind all his previous works. He's saying, this is my best movie. That's what he's saying to us. I have to disagree, Quentin, and people also call this a masterpiece, but just the fact that he thinks it's a great movie, and I've seen several big people call this movie's his masterpiece. It's his best movie. It's not his best movie. I think that it lacks a lot of substance to it, and it's just one of those movies that you leave kind of wondering, like, okay, what was the purpose of all that? It's sort of like a retelling of a Hollywood story, and a great cinematography and everything on the backdrop of classic Hollywood. I love that, but they kind of goes to waste because you just have these 2 characters and it's not very memorable. It's not very interesting to me. So I don't know. I missed it. Something about it just didn't click. I would not rewatch it again. I have no inclining to watch it again. And all his other movies make a lasting impression. This one did not, in my opinion. Alright, at number 8 we have Avengers 1, the first Avenger. So, Earth's mightiest heroes must come together and learn to fight as a team if they're going to stop the mischievous Loki and his alien army from enslaving humanity. So, I think that Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War are great, excellent movies. I think that they should be in the top 250 movies of all time. They show that blockbusters can be a lot more than just big explosions and funny scenes. I think that those movies are great. So going back to the first one, Avengers 1. All right. So this is kind of when Marvel was starting to get bigger and bigger. They already had several different movies, and superhero movies had been getting bigger and bigger until finally they had the crossover everyone was waiting for, the Avengers. We have all these characters and their individual movies, and then now they're all coming together to form the Avengers. Really cool idea. I thought that the first movie was not great, to be honest. I thought it was your typical blockbuster. I hated that Loki was the main villain. I don't like that. With all the cool villains that there are in Marvel, Loki is probably the most unintimidating, not interesting villain in my opinion. That's who they were fighting. A bunch of robots and Loki. That was already an immediate turnoff. And second, I think that there's some cool kind of sequences in it, but this movie's rated at an 8.1, I think, on IMDb, and it's grossed a bunch of money, which all the superhero movies did. But on top of that, the way people were talking about this movie when it came out, and granted, it could be because of the era that it came out. This was relatively new, so obviously this could have just been the hype of the moment when it came out. So I might grade this one a little bit on a curve. But still, I think that the way people were talking, like, oh my god, it was like the best movie ever. I literally remember somebody in one of my classes saying, oh, that was the best movie I've ever seen. Something like that. And just people glazing it and highly rating it. I don't think it was that good. I think the other Avengers after that, those deserve to be praised for what they are. But this first one, in my opinion, for what it's worth, I think it's overrated. Alright, at number 9, we have Jordan Peele's thriller, Get Out. So a young African American visits his white girlfriend's parents for the weekend, where his simmering uneasiness about their reception of him eventually reaches a boiling point. So right off the bat, I like Jordan Peele. I think that he's actually a very intriguing up-and-coming horror director. I think that he still has a lot to prove and a lot of work to do, but I'm a huge fan of Key and Peele. I think he is hilarious, and I like that he took a career shift, even though I would have loved for him to continue doing comedy because he's great at that, but he took a shift into horror and directing, and I admire that. I actually have a lot of props and respect for that, and I thought Nope was a very good movie. I give him props for that. I think Us was okay, and then we have Get Out. So I remember when this movie came out, people were raving about it, and they still rave about it to this day. I still see this on so many people's lists. This was on New York Times top 100 movies of the 21st century. That this was on there. I'm pretty sure this was number 8 out of 100. You can check out that video of me roasting it at the top right or under this video. You can check that out. But yeah, it's so highly rated in so many lists, and so many people talk about this and say it's his magnus opus, amazing movie, this and that, revolutionary. I don't see it. I don't see it. I thought this was an okay horror movie, but just because it may have a social message does not mean that the movie is a masterpiece automatically. Like that, it doesn't get a pass just because it has some kind of social message to it, whether you disagree or agree with that. So all in all, it's just an okay thriller / horror movie. I think that I enjoyed it. I thought it was good, but I was left wondering what's all the hype about. I don't understand. Because it was pretty good, but I'm not going to put it on my top 10 movies of all time, top 4 movies. And if you like it, you like it, but I'm just saying, this one is overrated in that sense. It's acclaimed, and I'm not entirely sure why. I feel like Nope, his other movie, probably deserves more acclaim than Get Out, in my opinion. And then at number 10, we have Barbie. So Barbie just came out 2 years ago. I can't believe that. I think it's been 2 years already. But it grossed $1 billion at the box office. Keep that in mind. Barbie and Ken are having the time of their lives in the seemingly perfect world of Barbie Land. However, when they meet a chance to go to the outside world, they soon discover the joys and perils of living among regular humans. So Obviously, this one may also be graded on a curve since it did get boosted by the whole Barbenheimer thing, the Oppenheimer and Barbie sort of clash that was going on. I thought that was a great socially constructed moment. You know, both movies ended up surpassing $1 billion, I'm pretty sure, at the box office. So that was all great, and a great thing for movies in general. You know, I as a fan of movies, I want them to do good. But personally, the fact that this one even grossed $1 billion is crazy. It's a fish out of water comedy that was very on the nose in a lot of moments, and I don't know, this movie's just okay to me. I remember being entertained, but I was rolling my eyes a lot in it. I think that its comedy was kind of cheap in a lot of moments, and it was cheesy, and if you think about the story more and more, it makes less and less sense. Again, I know it's a Barbie movie, so obviously you can't be rating it like it's some realistic drama movie. Of course, I get that, but still, you know, as a comedy movie, as a sort of larger than life, you know, movie like this, I do expect a little bit better in certain sequences. And yeah, I just thought it was okay. But again, when this came out, people were raving about it, saying it was an amazing movie, it was excellent. People loved this movie, and it had $1 billion at the box office. Again, this one's really being graded on that. I don't know if it would even be on this list if it didn't make $1 billion at the box office, but yeah, just that being on top of people really praising the crap out of this movie is why it's on this list. All right, there we go. So 10 of the most overrated movies of all time, part 1, because there's a lot more. So I might make other iterations of this. Again, this was in no particular order, and there's a lot more. So let me know below, you know, what you think, what do you agree, and what you definitely probably disagree on. But thank you very much for watching. I hope you were entertained. I hope you enjoyed it. And please be sure to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with the latest videos just like this.